I wasn't interested in a career. I wasn't interested in doing nothing other than rap. It wasn't no backup plan for no backup plan. It wasn't no plan B. It was this, all or nothing.
Before Mozzy would be afraid that his activities would lead him to a Thugz Mansion, he realized there was no choice but to better his life because tomorrow ain't promised, and he became a new era king. Before Mozzy would appear on the Black Panther soundtrack and get a shout out on the biggest stage in music from Kendrick during his Grammy speech.
Like my guy Mozzy say, you know, God up top all the time, real talk, you know.
Before he would collab with YG, Logic, J-Rock, Nipsey Hussle, Ty Dolla $ign, Young Thug, and Philthy Rich, who he now is in a lyrical combat with, stirring up a lot of talk in the rap world. Before Mozzy would have over 718k subscribers on YouTube and close to 1 million followers on Instagram at the time of this recording. Mozzy has been grinding for a long time in this rap game, slowly building his name up through hard work, talent, and consistency. He grew up without both of his parents, but was taken in by his grandmother at just 2 years old, and she showed him poetry and work ethic.
She was on me. She was on my linear early on. You know, she disciplined me, kept me in books, followed up on school report cards. She'll push up to the school, find out about it, you feel me?
But even with his grandmother's guidance, he got caught up in his surroundings and almost lost everything. It was when he came out of jail and dropped 4 projects in 1 year that he really started to take off. And recently he appeared on the massively successful Black Panther soundtrack, which was a part of an even more successful movie. But can you guess what Mozzy says that did for his brand? Stick around till the end of the video to find out. What's going on, good people in the comments section? Shout out to everyone watching after work, after school, at work, or on the toilet. Shout out to everyone watching in Sacramento today. Some people have called me Michael's little brother, the dollar store version of Michael, and others simply address me as Where is Michael? But I like to call myself Jeremy Hecht, aka your host for today's episode on Before They Were Famous, and I hope you're having one heck of a day. We've covered other artists recently like Polo G and Rico Nasty, so be sure to check those out after you finish watching this one, and be sure to let us know who to cover next by hitting me up on Instagram or in the comments down below. And I'm pretty sure ever since my first video for this channel, which was Dave East, you guys have been requesting for us to do this video, so also looking back at how much better I've gotten since that first video is humbling, but also exciting, and excited to finally bring you the story of Mozzy. So without any more talking, let's get into it.
Hey, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Boom!
Mozzy was born Timothy Patterson on June 24, 1987 in Sacramento, California. He grew up on 4th Avenue as a part of the Oak Park neighborhood.
Anybody in Sacramento would tell you it's one of the most, that place is a very significant place in Sacramento. It's a landmark. You don't even have to be involved in the gang culture to understand what's popping in Oak Park, you feel me?
But he witnessed his family in dire straits. His mother was addicted to drugs and his father was incarcerated. He says that all of the potential male role models in his life were affected by drugs making their way through the community in one way or another. So Mozzy was raised by his grandmother, Brenda Patterson Usher, who gained custody over Timothy when he was just 2 years old. Brenda was a member of the Black Panther Party and owned several homes within the Oak Park community. And even though his grandmother was well off, the emotional trauma that came along with losing his family members to the street life weighed on him heavily on a daily basis. But it was from his grandmother that Mozzy learned not only about work ethic, but about expressing himself. She showed him poetry and made sure he read books, but she also claims that she ran her household in a similar fashion to a boot camp, saying, "You had to get up and clean up, do your chores, be obedient." He would write his own poems and speeches and went to a lot of these little shows where he dressed in a suit and he would say what he had to say. When he was 11 years old, Mozzy, then rapping under the name Lil Tim, stepped into a recording booth for the first time after his uncle Gennaro Patterson, aka GP the Beast, invited him to come check it out. As soon as he stepped up to that microphone, he knew that was what he wanted to be doing. His original setup was using cassette tape players. And for you younger kids out there, you can Google it after.
I go to Tower Records, buy a tape. I play it in one tape player, and then I had the other one sit next to it recording.
Some of his early rap influences were Tupac, DMX, and local Sacramento rappers that paved the way for him to succeed. Lil Tim was thinking he would be a Lil Bow Wow or a Lil Romeo, but when he turned 16, he realized that his dream of being a child star they were slowly slipping away. So he thought maybe he could play basketball, but
I got to high school, my jumper was off. You know what I'm saying? I started sagging, you feel me?
His original raps were not far from the type of reflective observations about his neighborhood that you'd hear in a rhyme from Mozzy today, but He was leaning more towards the gospel side of things and rapping towards those around him, urging them to stop the violence. Eventually, things changed for Mozzy, and he went from showing up to those local talent shows with his grandma to showing up to the same shows with gang members. He started to see other kids his age with money, cars, and kicks, and although his grandma provided him with a nice life, he didn't have any of his own money, so he began breaking into other people's homes, robbing kids, and hustling for his own dollars.
You leaving the house, you know what I'm saying, me to junior high, grams ain't dropping you off to school no more. Right. Now you to the neck, and you know, people pushing up on you, they asking you where you from.
Mozzy attended Kit Carson and Sacramento High School, but eventually he was skipping school so much that he had to enroll in a continuation program for an hour a day just to keep his teachers off of his grandmother's back. Eventually, he dropped out. He did earn his GED though, so he has his diploma, but while he was getting into trouble, a lot of the time he was literally just skipping schools to work on his raps. Besides the not so legal stuff, Mozzy worked various jobs to earn money, including delivering newspapers and working at a sandwich shop, all while he worked on his raps. But Mozzy began to fall victim to his circumstances and got caught up with the law, getting arrested 3 times between 2005 and 2008. In an interview with SacB.com, while reflecting on the trauma that his life has brought, he says, "It's like I've got a shoebox of obituaries and they're all young. They all died due to gun violence. I can't go a day without reflecting on this. I didn't expect to be here at this age." That's the type of torn mentality that influences his lyrics and comes through in his music. In 2010, he decided to pursue a career in his musical passion full time. But it was 2 years later that he would finally start to gain some local buzz after switching his rap name to Mozzy. The name is short for mozzarella, or cheese, or money, however you like to put it. It's also an acronym for money over Zeri Zang Youngin, or in other words, put money over everything else. He says on the name, "Mozzy is bigger than me. That was the whole objective. This is a movement. Mozzy means money, and I'm pretty sure you wake in the morning and get your money." Everyone's Mozzy then. Maybe if I started thinking about money first thing in the morning, I'm Mozzy some more cash. You see what I did there? Because Moz might see Mozzy. That was low-key a bar. Okay, fine. All right, I'll stop. But Mozzy isn't new to beef. He's battle-tested. In 2014, he released a song called I'm Just Being Honest, which led to an ongoing feud with local rapper Lavish D. Ironically, the song featured Philthy Rich. Things in that beef turned into more than just music, so all we can do is hope that all parties stay safe in their current situation and don't get too heavily involved in anything more than their lyrics. After the Lavish D beef, Mozzy feared performing in his hometown, telling SacB.com, "Where I come from, you go to a show, people die. It's inevitable. But I'm in this business for longevity. I'm trying to succeed, I'm trying to win." The song and the beef surrounding it incited multiple shootings throughout Sacramento and caused a lot of commotion. And even though he wasn't involved in any of the situations directly, his friend got beat up at a mall and multiple people were injured over the course of more than a handful of incidences. Mozzy went to jail for gang enhancement, but if there was a silver lining to all of that, it was that song that really gained him Bay Area love. After he had given up his dreams of becoming a young Bow Wow, his next goal was to be like Cali rapper The Jacka. He was Mozzy's biggest influence and felt like he related to his whole story. Rest in peace to Jacka, who passed away a few years ago.
I reached out to him before I went to jail. I felt like he raised me with his music. So just sentimental value of that message is my favorite DM.
In 2014, Mozzy was arrested and served a sentence in San Quentin State Prison. Mozzy released the album Free Mozzy in support, and it wasn't only the people close to him that were yelling Free Mozzy. Mozzy says in jail the fan mail was overwhelming and even the guards were bumping his music. He had thousands of people awaiting new music and waiting for his freedom. But after his release from prison, he knew that he would have to change his lifestyle in order to change his life, and he did just that. He had a $7,000 check from iTunes waiting for him, so he took that and spent more time at the studio and less time in the streets. He also decided to spend more time in the Bay Area rather than in his home neighborhood to stay out of the way as much as possible. In fact, it seems like he spent all of his time in the studio because he released an unprecedented 4 solo albums in 1 year during 2015. He told PassionWise.com, "I just naturally let it ooze out of me. I hate to throw good work away. I know the majority of my shit is dope. I like to cook and give it to you hot." Rolling Stone placed his 2015 album Blah Da Da as the 22nd best rap album of 2015, and Complex said he had the best run of the year. But while his email was blowing up with promoters and tour managers wanting to take the kid from Sacramento on the road to perform his music, he was unable to leave the state due to his previous charges and probation. But that didn't stop the grind. Since then, Mozzy has kept the good music flowing with albums, singles, and everything in between, releasing a prolific amount of music. One of the biggest drops that he's had recently has been his ode to Tupac's classic song Thugz Mansion. On his rendition, he tapped Ty Dolla $ign and YG, and while he was initially hesitant to remake one of the most beloved songs of all time, the reception was overwhelmingly positive, and the video now has close to 14 million views on YouTube. He appeared on the Black Panther soundtrack and even got a shout out from Kendrick Lamar on the Grammy stage. And there's the answer to your question from the beginning of the video: Mozzy, the family-friendly rapper. More recently, he has also been involved in a back and forth with former collaborator Philthy. The two have thrown shots back and forth on record, so hopefully they're able to eventually work things out, as they were once working on songs together. But that's just the essence of Mozzy. Like he said, I'm a hypocrite. I'm a contradiction. Sometimes I'll be on my Black history. Sometimes I'm like, F the world. I go through different phases of my life. Sometimes I'm sad, I'm sick, I'm on drugs, I'm depressed. I'm just going through it. I'm human. But more than anything, I'm just looking forward to continued success from Mozzy. He is one of the most humble and hardworking artists I've had the pleasure of covering for this channel, and he made me an even bigger fan after doing all this research into his story. Are you guys Mozzy fans? If not, definitely look through his catalog. But as for the rest of the story, well, we'll have to wait and see, because this is Before They Were Famous. Here are 2 more videos for you to check out. I'm Jeremy Hecht. Let me know who to cover next in the comments down below. Dream good, live better. I hope you have one heck of a day, and I'll see you in another video.